Welcome to Your Next Level Now with your host, Bob Donnell. As a human behaviorist, Bob has helped people from every walk of life reach their next level, both personally and professionally. Whether a celebrity, professional athlete, or entrepreneur, Bob has helped them align their behavior with their desired result in their life and career. This is Your Next Level Now with Bob Donnell.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Your Next Level Now. Hope you guys had a great and productive week. If you want to type in something great that happened over the weekend, love to hear it. We want to celebrate with you when things go right, when things are happening, when things are moving forward. We want to celebrate with you. So please share in here where we can celebrate with you. Hey, Flo, how are you today? Got yard work done. Gotcha. Yeah. Mike, I see you there. Welcome. We're going to go ahead and start. But I just wanted to say hi to you guys and tell you how much I appreciate you guys. Those of you that are watching live, those of you that are watching recorded, I appreciate each one of you. So as we begin today, we have, for those of you that don't know, we have group coaching on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we do it via Zoom so we can actually all be together but one person's on camera at a time. So it's really more one-on-one, but it's called group coaching. And you get the benefit of having your question answered, but also being able to listen in to the other people's questions and the answers for them. So we found that to be one of the most productive ways of helping people get personally and professionally to where they want to go into their next level. So one of the things I want to share with you is this process that I created maybe, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, called the formula. And we've done it online, we've done it virtually, we've done it in person, live events. And it's kind of really the recipe that I think that we can all use and benefit from if we understand what the formula is. Imagine what will change in every area of your life. Every area of your life by having total, here's the formula, clarity, purpose, direction, and resolve. I'm going to break this down in just a minute, but think about those words: clarity, purpose, direction, and resolve, to stay the course to the finish line. To the finish line. When do you stop? When you finish. You don't stop before. And so when I talk about the formula, so many people have said, Bob, what is the formula and how do I apply it to my life? Well, here's the thing. You're going to pay the price to have a formula, or you're going to pay the price for not having one. Personally, professionally, relationally, financially, physically, spiritually, mentally, no matter what, you're going to pay the price for having or for not having the formula. So let's just talk about this for a minute. I think one of the biggest things that we need to have for us to move forward is clarity. Let me explain. I found that when we don't have clarity, we take longer to get started, we take longer to take action, and it takes longer for us to get the results that we want. So clarity. What does clarity look like? Well, if I told you run out in the parking lot, there's 100 parked cars in the parking lot, and I want you to run out there and touch the one I'm thinking of, how long would it take you to find the one I'm thinking of? That's lack of clarity. It would probably delay you in getting started because you'd be thinking, well, which color do you think Bob's thinking? Which row do you think he's thinking? You'd be thinking about the questions that you would be asking to figure out, to get more clarity about which way to run. Versus if I said, run out and go to the fourth row, third car from the left, it's a blue Chevy. How quick could you find it then? Instantaneously. Why? Because you have clarity. Most people, and what I find, whether it's their relationships, their health, or finances, whatever it is, they're lacking in clarity. And so because of that, they're overwhelmed, they're frustrated, they're not sure what's next or what to do first. So they take longer to get started, which means they're going to take longer to get the result that they want. So when I share that, when I talk about the formula, remember the first one is what? Clarity. Knowing, knowing, knowing. The second one is this: absolute purpose. Purpose, knowing absolute purpose. When you know exactly why you're doing something, when you know exactly the benefit that you will receive or the price you'll pay if you don't, that direction, that purpose. Why is it so important to you? Well, it's because I was raised XYZ and I don't want to be conditioned to those thoughts anymore. It's because I've had, massive setbacks that I'm willing to take more risks today to make that happen. What's the purpose? What are you trying to avoid, or what are you trying to run to? And in the 4-hour work day that we do this, we break it down and we go a little bit more in depth. But for this sake, think about clarity, think about absolute purpose. Do you know why you're doing what you're doing? Do you know why? Simon Sinek wrote, did the TED Talk, start with why, right? We always want to start with how. Well, what about how? What about how? I have a program that I teach called Get the How Out of the Way, because how is typically somewhere down the list after you figured out who, what, why, where, when. Then how becomes self-evident. But you have to answer these other questions. People want to know how first. So when you think about this, start with clarity. Then look for purpose. Why is it that's so important to you? And then the third is getting a roadmap for the direction. The roadmap for direction. I know how to get to the East Coast from California, but I don't know the exact best route to take to get from California to the East Coast, and what part of the East Coast. Well, if I'm wanting to go to Charleston, South Carolina to visit my buddy Roberto Monaco, well, that's going to look a little bit different than if I'm saying I want to go to upstate New York. The beginning of the journey may start out very similar, but it will have to change route at some point in order for me to get to that final destination. The finish line, that direction, is going to be absolutely key, and we have to have the right questions in order to get the right answers. Where do I want to go on the East Coast? Am I looking for the shortest route or the most scenic route? See what I'm saying? There's these things that we need to be looking for to get the right direction. It's not good enough to just start off in a direction that looks familiar, looks similar, looks like it might take us there, or somebody told us once. We're probably going to have to do a little bit better than that if we want to get to the exact destination that we want in our business, in our health, in our finances, in our relationships, in our walk with God. No matter what, we're probably going to have to ask better questions to get to that final destination. And then the last piece, the fourth piece of this, is the resolve. Man, I know a lot of people that have started off on starting a business, starting their relationship, starting their physical fitness program, starting their savings plan, whatever it is. A lot of us have started it, but it doesn't matter how many start, it matters how many finish. And I know this is really, really basic, but folks, the magic is in the basics. That's where the magic really is. And so when you think about this idea of the finish line, do you have the resolve to get there? Do you have the resolve to finish the race no matter how difficult it gets? It doesn't matter how many start off on the 26-mile journey of the marathon, but how many finish, how many cross the line. And then you look at timing and all that other stuff. The bottom line, though, is if you want to get to where you want to go, the business, the health, the finances, the relationship, we're going to have to get really clear about these four things: clarity, purpose, direction, and then this last component is the one that really makes it all come together: resolve. Resolve to stay the course to the finish line, no matter what. Not until it gets tough, not until I feel like giving up, not until my body says I'm tired, not until my friends say it's okay to quit, but no matter what, resolve to stay the course. If you want to understand resolve, in our half day, when we do this, we really break down these four areas, but then we really focus a lot on developing resolve. Resolve is something you can develop. It's not something you have to have, but you certainly have to develop. I'll even venture to say this: you don't have to have the resolve at the beginning, but you're certainly going to need the resolve to get to the end. Let me say that again. You might not need the resolve at the beginning while things are easy, while things look like, okay, I get it. I know which direction I'm going. Okay, I'm pretty confident about this. But you're certainly going to need the resolve when the things get difficult, when the naysayers keep telling you it's not going to happen, when the obstacles hit you flat in the face and start pushing you backwards. That's when the resolve, you have to develop the resolve at that moment, so that when you get to that moment of feel like giving up, you're able to overcome it. Resolve is the key. So let me see if you guys have any questions. Let me think here. Where's okay, gotcha. Let's see, flow. Okay, the formula: clarity, purpose, direction, and resolve. Guys, they all four are imperative pieces that we have to have, non-negotiable pieces for us to get where we want to go. So I'm going to do a piece on this in our formula group. And so it's one of the most important things that I've taught, because I think it's a four-piece component that actually helps us get to where we really want to go with a systematic approach, but yet understanding that the systems don't matter if we don't have these four components in place. These four components will trump most people's systems. So let's, because systems are no good unless you have the resolve to do them. Plain and simple. So, hey, Mike, you got a comment or a question?
Yes.
Hey, brother.
2 seconds. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Fantastic. Yes, the resolve is my interest the most out of the 4 points. I understand my purpose. I understand the direction I'm going.
Okay.
But I find that my resolve gets weak when people start questioning or reminding me of.
Yeah.
So what are some of your beginning entry levels of increasing your resolve?
Well, I think the first thing when I look at resolve, I look at who are the people telling me I can't, right? Okay. And they're typically people that have never done it before. If you walked up to Bill Gates or you walked up to Warren Buffett and said, I'm going to be a billionaire, they would go, all right, how are you going to do this? What do you need? What are you going to need in order to accomplish this? They would not say, no, you're not. Because why? They've done it. They know the path. They know how to do it. The naysayers are typically people who've never done it or have been too afraid to even start. So I always go, consider the source. Who's the naysayer? Who's telling me I can't? Consider the source. Have they ever done anything like I'm doing? No, then I don't listen to them, right? So developing resolve is one, making sure that we're listening to the right people, right? We're not listening to the juggernauts of people doing nothing and telling you you're going to do the same. I'm listening to the right people. in developing resolve, I developed this course. You have kids. Remember when they were little and they would want to run out into the street or run in? And how often did you tell them no?
Until they stopped.
Until they stopped, right? It didn't matter if it was 10 times a day, 100 times a day, 5,000 times a month. You just said, no, stop. No, you can't. You did it. You didn't go, well, I guess we'll just let them see and they'll find out the hard way. No, we didn't do that, right? So we have to be consistent about our approach. The first thing I can say resolve is it's like building a muscle. You don't build 200 pounds, you don't go out and lift 200 pounds the first day and then be done. You're going to have to work up to it. And then you're going to lose the ability to lift 200 pounds if you don't continue to build that muscle. So we have to look at it as a muscle. Resolve is a muscle that we're building. So how would you build a muscle? You would do it consistently. You would do it persistently. You might increase over time. Resolve can start at one thing. For example, running a marathon. Resolve may be just, I'm going to eat right and do the things necessary so that I can hopefully finish the race when I get there. That may be the first step in resolve. Just putting ourselves in a place where we start. And then we go, okay, now that I've started and I'm a mile in, what do I need to do to continue? Well, I need to make sure that XYZ is followed, that I'm running at a good pace, that I'm following what I know to be correct for running a marathon, all of those things. It's that building of that muscle. It's the resolve that we're building. And it doesn't come with a complicated set of instructions. It comes with a set of instructions. And that is doing it again, doing it again, so that at some point we're like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And we do it. It's like building your business, right? You know that marketing is important. You know that sales is important. You know that customer service is important. You know all these things are important. Now, the bottom line is, what do you have to do first? You have to start. You have to say, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I want to accomplish. Here's why it's important to me, right? And so then when you get to that point, then you say, what's going to stop me? What stopped you in the past?
Usually the excuse of not knowing how to do it perfectly.
Absolutely. You know, I didn't know how to write my book my first book perfectly, but I wrote it. And I wrote it and I edited it and I sent it off to somebody to fine tune it. And then I wrote my next book. We don't have to know exactly how. It's kind of like looking around the corner. You don't have to know what's around the corner, but you have to get around the corner to know what's there. And so with our businesses, with our relationships, with our finances, no matter what it is, we have to say, I need to start. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's got to get started. And so I'm going to do that. Today, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start. I'm going to make those 10 phone calls. I'm going to make those 10 door knocks. I'm going to, whatever it is, I'm going to do that. And I don't know what the next step is, but right now I know that I've got to do that. But in that time, it'll become self-evident probably what the next step is. Like once you've made 10 phone calls, once you've made 10 door knocks, what's the next step? Following up. If we prospect, we have something to follow up. If we don't prospect, there was nothing to follow up. So prospecting's first, then we follow up. See where I'm going with this? Mike, you might be frozen. Yeah, you're frozen.
Right.
There you are.
Yes.
So the bottom line is, know what the first step is, do that. And then you're lost again. So you'll go back and watch this recording. And then resolve to go, what's next, and do that. And we've talked about what about Bob and baby steps. So Mike, you can comment later in the group when this is published, what you took away from that. And Flo, you're up. Okay, Mike, you can go back and listen to the recording, what I put in there.
I think I'd save myself a whole lot of time if I did this exercise with, think about it thoroughly before. Half the time I just go in and just, oh yeah, I could do that. And I don't really map out everything.
Which exercise are you talking about?
The formula.
The formula? Yeah, I mean, it's a real simple. I mean, you just got to think about it. Everything we do has a formula to lead to the end result that we want. Are we practicing the formula, or are we just going, let's just shoot, let's go? Well, I got sidetracked because this phone call came in, and I got sidetracked because of this, and then yard work, and then my husband wanted me to do this, or my wife wanted me to do this. And it's like, well, the formula says you have to develop these 4 characteristics. And the last one is the most important. Though. If you do all 3, but you don't have the resolve to finish it, the first 3 don't matter.
Yeah.
But we have to do them in order to get to the building of that muscle of resolve. Like, for example, holding a boundary. That requires a resolve muscle. Having the ability to stay the course even when it's tough is going to boil down to resolve. And you might be able to build that resolve by getting greater clarity. You might build resolve by getting a better sense of purpose or a sense of direction. Once you have an idea of what's next, the direction, then that resolve muscle is getting built. So the process is producing a resolve muscle, and the resolve muscle is what's going to carry you across the finish line.
Yeah. I think I have a tendency I have the idea, and then I'm just like a shoot from the hip, just, okay, let's just willy-nilly do it and go from there. And yeah, you're right. The resolve is the one that kicks me in the butt.
Most of us.
All right.
So what are you going to do first? What are you going to do today?
Map out how to finish the cookbook.
Okay, there you go.
Yep.
There you go. Cool. There's Teodora. Thanks, Lance. Good to see you, brother. Been a long time since we've been in the same room together. Marty, good morning. Forgot how poignant your advice can be. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, y'all. Teodora is doing some great things. She's got a resolution to get a certain licensing in her financial services, and she has been diligently pursuing that. So I congratulate you. Guys, it really does boil down to, who we surround ourselves with. I mean, Next Level, your Next Level now is a community that we formed under the name Tune Up in 2007. And it's really been focused on helping build a community of people that are looking to get to their next level personally and professionally. And I believe that's you if you're listening to this. And I invite you to join the community, because this community is not only about personal and professional, but it's also about supporting and encouraging one another. Yes, I can get on here and give some advice. I can get on here and say some things. Bottom line is, when you have the community of people saying, remember you said you were going to do this last week? Here, how's that going? When you have people supporting you in that, it's really, really key. And so we developed this as a support group, basically. And it's worked really well for that for how many years now? 15 years. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Megan Watson, good morning. So guys, we're at the 24, 25-minute mark. If you have another comment that you want me to address or a question, go ahead and type it in. I'll go ahead and answer it. But other than that, guys, this is a 4-step process, the formula. People always say, well, Bob, but does the formula work? Well, it's kind of like anything else. It doesn't work unless you work it. Doesn't work unless you work it. You have to do the process. Does sequence matter? If I give you 7 random numbers and tell you to call me on the first time, I'll give you $10 million. What are the odds that you're going to dial them in the perfect sequence? Not very good. But if I told you my number is 949-542-6398, you would immediately be able to dial that. As soon as I finished that last digit, you'd be able to finish it. And you'd be able to dial that number. That's how important sequence is. Guys, sequence matters. It matters not only in business, but in every area of our life and our health and our relationships and finances and everything else. That's going to matter. So make sure that we understand the sequence of things first. And I'll tell you this, resolve has to be one of the 4, has to be, or it's probably not going to happen when it gets tough. You might make it happen when things are easy. You might make it happen when you're energized and you're excited and you're seeing, some possibilities. But when times get tough, and we all know that there will be tough times, and no matter what we're pursuing, when times get tough, well, it's a whole nother ballgame if we don't have the resolve. So let's go back to clarity, purpose, direction, and resolve. And resolve being the one that's going to carry us across the finish line. And if we don't have it, it doesn't matter how practiced we are, how many things we have, tough times will stop us because we don't have the resolve to carry it through. So, guys, perfect. All right. Well, guys, I'm going to let you get out of here. Go impact the world in your unique and special way. And as always, thank you and enjoy your next level.
Thanks, Bob.
You've been listening to Your Next Level Now with Bob Donnell. To find out more, call us at 949-542-6398. That's 949-542-6398. Or you can find more information on our website at everythingnextlevel.com. That's everythingnextlevel.com.